perfect as your perfection, a perfect blueprint for you exists. How about that? Well, I'm your host, Joseph William Baker. You're watching Joe Baker's Remedy Report, a show about bringing harmony to the world through economic innovations, health tips, increased awareness, all that. I have to say the show's for entertainment purposes only, as a disclaimer. Wink. And uh, and then let's go from here. I've had the awesome experience of being with someone who had been uh, or is exceedingly psychic in some regards, having tremendous visions about this and that. And one of those visions, um, I can't go into it too detailed because I don't want to, give up certain pieces of that information. But um, there's a way where one can perceive another individual in that person's perfect expression of DNA. Perfect expression of DNA. So, what does that mean? It means like your hair extremely, out and wavy, um, like you see an animal, maybe a lion or something, and just extraordinary details in every way. On for instance, people who have, like I do, uh, where my eyebrows don't go all the way out over here, like they're kind of weak, right? There are toxins in my skin that are fighting back the perfect expression of my DNA. I don't even want to call it DNA. I don't. I think it goes beyond DNA. I think DNA is a uh, is below the plan of the expression for your life, your body, uh, the coupling of your spirit and your body. I think that there's something beyond the DNA. Because they talk about how you use like a 528 hertz tuning fork, and that you repair DNA with something like that. Um, there's another there's another thing that I've done in the past where I use high voltage electric fields to regress the DNA from seeds back to a prehistoric code. Essentially, it clears out the RNA masking that happens from parents, from the ancestral line, and there's an allowance then for a free expression of the DNA to express itself. I guess these RNA types of things come in place, and they tend to mask off certain things, or maybe make certain limits on certain types of growth and all that. Well, if you were to put a sperm and an egg in a 20,000 volt electrostatic field, not running the current through them, just having that energy near them, it would you would have some really cool, well, expressions of DNA in the resulting embryo. And you might see expressions of certain features from a human that haven't been seen in thousands of years. You might have a giant come out. Uh, there's any number of possibilities. But anyway, this is our challenge, I feel. And as much as we live in this world, there are things that are working against us. And I want to suggest that rather than us working toward perfection, that we are perfect and that there are all these things that challenge our bodies. And by challenging our bodies, by challenging us with a monetary system, by challenging us with hierarchical structures of civilization, that there is a deliberate plan. I want to use the word to sublimate, to subject our perfection to demise. Like we say that we go through lives trying to perfect ourselves, but I think maybe the lifetimes that we're going through are rather trying to separate us from our perfection. I don't know. You can look at it too, from both sides. Is the glass half full? Is it half empty? But what would it be if, if you look at a baby, and see perfection there? If people could really understand the digestive habits of the child, if we really understood our liver and how it works and our bile juices and all of this, maybe we could actually manage things better for our child so that they don't run into this wall of anxiety. And of course, there's a whole vitamin A thing I've been working on. Mother's breast milk is loaded with vitamin A from the foods that women have been eating. And they've been poisoned left and right. And even the foods on this planet, even the natural foods on this planet, many of them have vitamin A in them, retinol. I think retinol is the enemy of our soul, the enemy of our spirits. And if we're to progress and become more harmonious as a civilization, we've got to come to terms with what are the things that are really biting at us. And look, there are difficulties that we endure, that we fight against. There are forces that of opposition that somehow become good for us, or good for perhaps our evolution, in that we learn through comparison and contrast what we prefer. It's kind of like you kind of have to see the dark side of things a little bit to appreciate the light. Um, and I'm not saying that quite right. More thought needs to go into saying that in a more uh, perfect way. But we, somewhere out there in our spirits, have an absolutely perfect version of us. And I don't know how we draw on that um, exactly, but it's out there and it should be comforting. I want you to know there are parallel universes where you exist, like think of millions, trillions of different ways that your life has played out. And you should know that in some of those, you are very satisfied. And that in this one, there just happen to be challenges that you're facing. And it's something you can learn from. And somehow, maybe you've chosen this path in this particular parallel universe, and there's maybe some reason ahead that the things you're learning about, you're learning, oh, I made this bad choice, and now look what it's doing. Well, that's your wisdom. You're learning from experience, and that's a powerful thing. Look, I don't know if we really are all one entity, but maybe this idea that you are infinite, just as I am infinite, in the multiple expressions. I mean, I'm thinking now in terms of, I'm saying this, is the word contemporaneously, kind of all at the spur of the moment, what I'm saying. And I'm thinking about all the different versions of me during this show that could be, saying something different. and it, your mind could explode with like thousands of different television or computer screens, me saying different things on them. But somehow we're together in this thread, this particular moment in time. With our minds churning on this question. I mean, this vision of this one psychic being able to see herself and another person in an absolute perfect expression of what their bodies could be. Where does that come from? Is it a perception of something that is real, that does exist somewhere else in a parallel? Was she seeing through a portal, maybe, of another place? Was there maybe an orb of protection of energies so that toxins didn't affect them at all? These are questions I have, and I'm just I have these little seeds of experiential observations that she's made through the years that I was with her, and I sit here and wonder what to do with this information. Many of you have your own kind of observations, and oftentimes it's human nature to not tell others about what you saw for fear of being thought that you're crazy or something. Well, you there are hallucinations that can happen, like vitamin A can cause hallucinations. And, you might not be eating a lot of it, but if you eat something maybe spicy foods have vitamin A, animal fat that where the animals have been eating vitamin A. There's a lot in the fat. There's a lot in the liver. If you're eating fish, you want to avoid eating the liver from the fish or the liver from chicken. But the fish, man, the fat in fish is kind of the fat in the fish and the oils in the fish are to be avoided. So we have all these mental disorders and things that are caused by this vitamin A. So I hope you get on the vitamin A bandwagon and start delving into the research, the reading, or at least get a cookbook. There's a cookbook. Someone put together a cookbook on Amazon about a low vitamin A diet. And that would be just awesome if there was one thing you would do as a result of listening to this show. Identify the foods that are causing the problems, the colors. People have been telling us that food coloring has been affecting our behavior. Well, guess what? The natural food colorings have carotenoids in them. Carotenoids is a double molecule of vitamin A, the retinol. So, yes, it does affect our behavior. And it should be avoided. Now, the other thing is there's these this triggering phenomena that happens where, you know how when you think about something and then you can feel something in your gut, maybe an uneasy feeling in your gut, well, your liver is speaking up and it's excreting bile, maybe from your gallbladder. You've got a little sphincter in there that called the sphincter of Oddi, ODDI, and it relaxes and just lets a bunch of bile out into your intestines, and that is some toxic bile. And if you've been eating vitamin A, it's more toxic than it was probably designed to be. The Rockefellers, they know about toxic bile theory, and they've been profiting from it. Making doctors and the whole medical industry think that all these different parts of your body where you have an ache or a pain, that it's not all the same thing. It's really a condition of your skin on the insides of your organs, and you can think of the skin everywhere in your body, inside and out. This tissue. And problems from vitamin A present in random places throughout the body. And that's really what doctors should be studying, the whole phenomenon of that, rather than, looking at a specific part of the body and trying to figure out, why you've got cancer here or there or whatever. And I don't know what that word is. Grant Genereux talked about it in his books. He's got 3 of them, free ebooks at ggeneroux.blog. I'll spell that for you on the screen. And I'll type it into the chat. Then you got a clickable link. ggenereux.blog. Do you know how long it took me to be able to spell that? It took me a long time. I've not been familiar with names like that, spellings. I've I've resonated with this idea that children are perfect and they have all this wisdom when they're born, and that it kind of degrades from there. And you wonder what they're crying about sometimes. Could it be the retinol just burning away at parts of their brain, causing chemical distress on the neurons in the brain? We know and we understand the idea of hunger pains, but I've walked around here and I'll have had, and it still happens sometimes. It's going to take me several years to detox the vitamin A from my liver. Maybe as many as 5 years. I don't know. And if I keep eating like I did last night, it's going to take even longer. I saw some chips and they had spicy stuff on them. And I was like, oh man. So I ate those and I had some charcoal to kind of try to balance that out. And I had some rice and beans. But sometimes this stuff is just so, well, it's addictive. Vitamin A is an addiction. And it causes other addictions to be more severe. So, I know I'm making a lot of claims here, and I can't back them up myself. I mean, I could if I have enough time to go in and re-research these things. But the research has been done. It's being presented. It's Garrett Smith is a doctor from Arizona. He does a show called the Love Your Liver broadcast. Love Your Liver is a channel on YouTube, also on Rumble. And if you're not already on Rumble, uh, please sign up on Rumble, and then look around for Remedy Report and follow my channel, would you? That would be a big help. Rumble isn't as keen on censoring people and ideas as YouTube is, and another fabulous place for us to go is on Telegram. I'll give you a link for that. It's an app that you run on your cell phone or on your laptop. And you can follow this link, t.me/remedy report. And you can sign up there. Wow, well, my testosterone is getting stronger today. I can hear it in my voice. It's gone much deeper today. And that's one of the things that happens when you exit vitamin A from your body. There are a lot of things that vitamin A is antagonistic to. It's antagonistic to vitamin C. It's antagonistic to your natural vitamin D levels. Vitamin A, retinol, you call it, or isotron. There's a couple names for it. There's about 140 names for retinol. And isotretinoin, that's what I was trying to say. Accutane. they tend to hide these things by using other names for them. I don't know if that's intentional. It could just be a way to patent things differently by giving it a different name. But anyway, the Telegram group there, Remedy Report, is a place where we've been able to share a lot of data. And many of the viewers on the show have varying opinions about things, but rarely have I ever censored anything except for, spamming schemes. So that's pretty great. And there's a guy named Freeman in the group who talks a lot about medical stuff and debunks germ theory and all that. I've got kind of a blended idea about some of these things, and the formations were coming together this morning. I think most of the contagion stuff is rather not likely to be what we're told it is. And I've got a different take on biological warfare this morning that I'd like to share with you. Think of the word biological. And, bio meaning, biologic, I guess. But then the word logic in there is interesting to me. And it stuck out in my mind today. That it's, in biological warfare, you're trying to almost defeat people's logic about themselves and the homeostasis nature they might be in, and you're trying to put one off of their homeostasis into a state of disease, or from a state of ease into a state of disease. And it can be done with the mind, by people, being concerned and in fear and having false understandings about things. I've seen the proof about these things. There's no proof of somebody breathing on somebody else and giving them a disease. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there could be toxins. Somebody's got enough horrible breath. And you intox that. That's pretty severe. I think our detox systems in the body could probably handle something like that pretty well. But there are the sort of pathogens I'm thinking about are parasites and perhaps bacteria. And the things I've found out about bacteria is that they can be, what's the word, that bacteria can change from one sort to another. It's a polymorphic. And that's an interesting thing. Oh, here's a comment somebody made here. Amara, frequencies. That would make sense, since that's what the vaccine did. It caused diseased bodies and minds. I'll dive into a little bit of what taking a bad breath. Have you ever tried an electric high water flow dental flosser. Off topic, I know, but they're amazing. Your mouth feels so clean. I would love to. That would be awesome to have those jet streams of water, get all that plaque off of there. Um, I have uh, I have some yellow on the bottoms. I don't know if I want to show them on here, but that's also a buildup from vitamin A. And the other thing I heard that it can contain is uh, it's like a single cell. Is it a parasite? Candida. I think it might be a fungus or a mold or something. Anyway, Candida. There's one doctor, and I don't know if I trust him on everything because I know he thinks people should take vitamin A for their tooth health. Um, but I disagree, and anyway, it'll all come out. I was conversing with Chat GPT last night, and uh, yeah, Amara says you can get thrush in the mouth. Yes, I've seen this at the hospital. Thrush, I think that's where your tongue is all white. Let's see how mine is today. Uh, I get a buildup sometimes on there. And Mara says, yep, it all comes out in the wash. Excuse me. So, oh, where's that going to go? I do think that these, you know, parasites or fungus can, they have quite a bit of toxins inside them. When they die off, I've heard that there are like 72 different toxins that come out as a result of their death. So when their wall or their um, membrane gets disrupted, then these toxins come out, and that's what they talk about being a detox ache, a Herxheimer reaction. Amara reminds us you need to brush your tongue and gums and the top of your mouth every day, just like your teeth. Thank you, Amara. Amara, Amara, I love you. Amara, you're always a day away. Tomorrow, tomorrow. I was in the play Annie, and I played about 12 or 13 roles in that play. Uh, One of them was Mr. Um, Bundles, Mr. Bundles, the laundryman, and I played Secretary of State Hicks, um, and I played a hobo, and it was fun. I enjoyed singing and performing on stage. And there's one time when I took Miss Hannigan, I held her and to distract her so that Annie could get away into the laundry basket, I I gave her a big dip, and was like getting ready to kiss her. And as soon as I saw Annie was clear, then I don't know if I dropped her, Miss Hannigan, or what, but it was funny. So I wanted to talk about this, that I feel that we are perfect, and I know a psychic who has seen before the images of people like herself and another where they were perfect. I mean, like just incredibly beautiful, like wavy hair, like almost like there was no gravity holding the hair down. And yeah, just the hair was in uninhibited in terms of its growth and the beauty and the luster and the shine and the skin, all of that. So that gives me the idea that somewhere, and maybe it's in our DNA, maybe that's it, or maybe there's, somewhere else that where the intention of what our DNA is might be stored or is emitting from somewhere. But I think there's a perfection to us, a background perfection, uh, architecture, a drawing, a blueprint is what I called it in the title of the show. This was what I put up for the title screen. Your perfection, a perfect blueprint for you exists. And so by us realizing that somewhere out in a parallel universe there's a version of us more perfect or more experienced in a certain area, that maybe we can communicate with that other version of ourselves. They talk about doing this through what's called a doppelganger. There's a version of you that is a communications specialist that has the ability to communicate with other versions of you. And like if you need help with law, you go through the doppelganger to get a version of you that is an expert in law. And you would communicate. I mean, at least I've heard someone talk about this. I don't know if it's all true or not, but maybe just maybe it is. Aren't you supposed to die when you see your doppelganger? Wow, I haven't heard that. But you wouldn't have to see the doppelganger. You could just, communicate with it, I guess. I saw a doppelganger of a friend once. Amar writes, weirdest thing ever. Let me take this off the screen, the forgiveness capital part that just seems to be up there for. But that is a great website to go to. That's where all my projects are listed and linked to. But maybe we can just take a breath and kind of relax a little bit. Om. And there's one thing you can do where you sit in an upright position with your hands on your knees. And this is a way where people connect. Maybe not to their doppelganger, but why not? And this is a way of connecting to something called the egregore. And it's part of the Rosicrucian practice. And they meet every day at noon in California. and they have a temple, and everybody goes in there. They bang a gong, and you sit down, and they do this thing. I wonder if it's by chance the same time that they're going to do that. They do it at noon, which would be about 2 hours from now. And the idea is that it's kind of like yoga, really. If your body goes into a certain pose, then you're in an interesting way. You're connected with everyone else who's ever been in that pose or ever will be in that pose, and perhaps the version of you that you needing to connect with will someday be in that exact pose. And I don't know what how the connection works and all this. The closest thing I've ever had. Oh yeah. Amara says I've been walking in the park with my dog. Getting out amongst the trees always helps. Also, if you can look at water, water is a good thing to observe. A natural body of water, maybe a river where it's flowing. Maybe we could play. I'm going to try to play that. I've got a little video clip on my website, com/, Remedy Report, on the Facebook page. My screen might freeze up a little bit as I switch over, and I apologize for the audio. It's not quite as good as I'd like it to be. I've been having difficulties with being able to use the audio from my webcam. Here it is. And I'm going to play this a little bit and share it with you. This is a show I did. So if you have some water handy, or if you're walking near water, or if you just want to treat the water within you, I think this might be a great thing to do. Oh, an interesting practice. Yeah, she said that sounds like an interesting practice. Instead of pray, it's the word practice. Got it. Right. Now I'll do the share screen. Close this one. We're going to treat your water with some energetics. So place your glass of water somewhere out here, and we're going to work to bless the water before you drink it. This may even help the water inside of you. We're going to use this device. It's a health stimulating device by the P-Rife company called IteraCare. Tera meaning terahertz, uses terahertz frequencies. And I believe what's going on here is that it stimulates the enzymes in your body. But this also helps to restructure the water. So I'll be pointing it in. Probably won't be able to hear me very well once this gets going. Here we go. So we're watching this, and it's a treatment of water I did on another show on Facebook. I have it pinned, and I don't know. It's a subjective thing. I can always tell. I mean, every time I do this, I'm more conscious of my saliva, and it starts to feel different in my mouth, and I feel like my hands feel more moist right now. Hi, Star. Earthica Stasi. Stasi or Stazel? I'm looking at that. Stasi, yep. I thought so. Stasi. But this is a treatment. And so instead of treating, you or other people like I do on the show, in this case, my intention was to treat water. And yeah, I can feel my fingers are so moist right now. Holy cow. Of course, it's giving us the benefits of energized water. They talk about water that falls off a huge waterfall and how much energy it has from passing, from free falling uh, great distances. Well, putting it in a blender can do that too, and using the Iteracare wand, oops, upside down, can do that too. That's what I was using there on above the blender. Let's see what I have to say.
Cheers. Now, leave some comments, if you will. Play this back. Have a glass of water in front of the, to play the water, play the video for your water before you drink it.
So I'm interested. Do any of you feel different after watching that? Do you sense a difference in your saliva, in your eyes, any place where there's moisture, all of that? How is your skin after just being having that video played around you? For me, the moisture was in the hands. Ooh. I think this is a great thing to try. If people have some critical diseases they're going through, this is one of those tools that's just people are raving about it. And I got Linda told me there was somebody who got off of dialysis recently using one of these, and that's pretty big news, right? And of course, I know that these kind of things are possible. We've helped Marianne Rice improve her kidney metrics, and it just takes time and focus and a little coordination to get us all together. Of course, you guys know that I've always got these treatments up here for you on demand. You can find them right there at remedycoin.com. remedy report, there's a bunch of on-demand treatments. You just play them and you get the benefits of the treatments. And there's a whole list of places, whether it's like your ankles or your head or shoulders. And if there's one that's missing from there, let us know, and we'll work on that. Get a show and kind of focus our energies on some other part of the body that you need, and then you'll have it as an on-demand show that you can play. Marianne Rice, the first time I did it for her was for her ankle, and because of a kidney failure, she had ankle problems, and then her ankles just were chronic, all the time kind of pain. Amaro writes, we've been so conditioned not to believe these things are not possible. Yeah. And let me turn off that video. I'm really pleased that the frame rates sustained here. Oh, maybe I can show you at the end of this video. It started snowing outside, and the flakes were huge. Maybe this isn't the video where that happened. I did 2 that day where I treated the water, and this isn't the one. The elite make you think big pharma is the only way. Goid means good. I don't know where the word goid came into place here. Goid. Oh, Ben. Hi, Ben. We worked on Ben's knee. We got Ben's knee working during one of the shows we did. And Ben Brandt writes, hi, Joe. Sorry your friend Hoodie passed. Thank you. Hoodie was a great cat. And, Hoodie was... Hoodie had a problem. He was very aggressive in the beginning, and using the tuning forks, I cleared his biofield, and the aggressiveness went away. He was able to become a lap cat. And this is one of the things that gets me to the premise of this show today, is that there is a perfect underlying blueprint of your biology and of your body. And it's toxins and it's toxic kinds of thoughts, and the hierarchical system of control we live under, and the monetary system. These kind of toxic thoughts crush our beings and cause and of course chemical toxins in our environment, like the retinol. And there's toxins even in herbs. Green tea, I've been learning that it is it's very powerful at pulling fluoride out of the ground. And so I'd heard that the tea bags had fluoride in them, but I didn't realize that the green tea itself was going to deliver fluoride to us. Let's see. Ben writes that he takes a tablespoon of cayenne pepper in the morning. Oh my God. All right, Ben. We're going to have to talk to you about this. I have been telling people to have cayenne pepper already at the ready. And there are things that cayenne pepper will do to kill certain pathogens. But it's got a lot of carotenoids. What are carotenoids? Carotenoids have two retinol molecules in them, and I'm not perfect on my chemistry and all this, but I'll give you what I think I know, what I've learned, what's been told, and so cayenne pepper has a lot of retinol in it, and so that's going to burn away at tissues inside your body, and I don't know. Now there's a question of if you can detox the retinol faster than you intox it, well that's an okay thing then to take in some retinol. But perhaps if there's a liver injury or a liver trauma from the past that inhibits it from detoxing it fully, then the liver has the ability to accumulate like 10 years worth of retinol. And before you have any symptoms of retinol toxicity, vitamin A toxicity. But after the liver reaches its saturation point, you start running into problems, serious problems. And so, and then there could be trigger foods which cause the liver to squirt out, the liver or the gallbladder, the sphincter of Oddi, to squirt out a lot of this bile that's got a lot of the toxic vitamin A in it. And then by that time, you've had so much of this stuff that it's starting to wear down your gallbladder. You might have had gallstones, had your gallbladder removed, or anyway. I'm pretty much trying to stay away from spices. I mean, I did it last night. I had some chips that had some spicy hot stuff on them. In fact, it was funny. We were watching a show about Frito-Lay and how a janitor came up with the hot spicy chips that they sold, and they focused on the Mexican market, Mexican Americans. And so that's all rather interesting. Oh, what did we say? I have 4 cats, Ben writes, and Luke, he's crazy black cat. Cat food is poison. Water is poison. Water is poison to dog and cats. I am concerned about the meat that they feed the cats in the cat food. The pate. When they talk about a pate, it's a blending of various kinds of parts of the animal, usually kidneys and liver, and the liver has it is a filter for toxins in the body, so it ends up accumulating the most toxic parts of what the animal has eaten. So we end up with liver there, or retinol esters in the liver. And and then Ben writes, I eat dandelion flowers, trying to go herbal. There again, the herbal remedies are all, in my view, are all in question now, because the herbs are are pulling up toxins from the earth, and what you end up with, the way they have herbal remedies, is because you're treating a poison with another poison, and you're offsetting it, and you're basically doing a balancing act, piling up a couple poisons here to counteract poisons over there, and so you end up with a kind of an equilibrium. But it's taking away from your perfect self, because if your perfect self were there, you wouldn't have the toxins. The toxins wouldn't be impeding the expression of your DNA. So I know I've eaten dandelions, and I've eaten the dandelion leaves and all that, and used it, and it can be useful. Like the bitter parts of the dandelion uh, can be used to trigger the bile dump from your liver, and well, I think that's what they triggers the bile dump, either that or the digestive acids in the stomach, which are different than the bile. The bile is after the stomach. It's not supposed to be in the stomach. When you feel nausea, that's the bile working back into the stomach, probably because of some constipation or something. Amara says, and I, like Dr. Smith, Dr. Garrett Smith, pointed out, all pharmaceutical drugs started off as herbs originally. And she writes, which I knew anyway, but did it make me more wary of herbs once he pointed it out? Did it? Yes, I get it. Oh, Ben says, I have one kidney since I was 6 months, just trying to help myself. I've got a show on kidneys, so you might want to. I hope I do. If I don't, we'll have to do one, right? remedycoin.com/remedy report, and I will shoot on down the page. It's not at the top, so you look for these things down below. Kidney, there we go. And open, let's see, I'll copy the link, paste it in here. And again, with my treatments, it's something where I'm asking you to agree to forgive me if there's any adverse reactions. That's the link to the kidney show. And if there are, if you'd like to have more personalized treatment, we can do that. If you'd like to do, yes, that is exactly. Amara says, "Oh, is that on your website? An actual list where I can click on what show I want?" That is awesome. Yes, it's not all the shows, but I've got the ones for different parts of the body, and that's what that is. She says, you pointed that out before, but I didn't realize the list was actual links. Oh, yeah, baby. And again, this is that link, remedycoin.com/remedy report. And so, I'm trying to build up more and more of these, because these are going to, outlast me. Maybe, I don't know. I'm aiming for living beyond 1,000 years, and on this planet, in this existence, this life, I want to collect up the experiential knowledge and wisdom because I think this is going to be is going to be a great ride, and maybe write some books and stuff so I can in future lives I can connect back to what I've gleaned in this life. And then thanks, Ben. And Amara says, I was thinking today I wanted a particular show, but would have had to scroll for it. That's great. Yeah, and if you've got ideas about other ways to link these shows, or um, I'm interested in that too, just to figure out how we do these shows and make it quick for people to find information about them. The AI features that are coming out are kind of interesting. Chat GPT, I was talking with it about vitamin A, trying to convince it that vitamin A was a poison last night. And it was just, it was kind of disconcerting because the AI doesn't have access to the internet. It has everything up to 2021. But even so, you know, it's my initial observations are that it's kind of a brainwashing operation. The AI has been brainwashed, perhaps, and doesn't understand. The first, I mean, it understands that vitamin A can be toxic at certain levels, but it insists that it is essential, uh, essential for life, and it's not, and that's just a bold-faced lie, uh, and or a mistake of epic proportions. And any 5-year-old or fifth grader, right? Any fifth grader in school could do a science experiment that proves uh, that disproves the establishment's view that vitamin A is essential for life. You just grow a mouse or a gerbil without any vitamin A and have babies and have them not have any vitamin A. And pretty soon you're going to understand that the whole uh, goddamn medical establishment's fascination and obsession with retinol is a bunch of malarkey. And we've already had some things that have gone on. You've got the Japanese prisoners in the American concentration camps during the Second World War, I think it was, and they, because of Pearl Harbor and all, they had their only nutrition was 1 cup of rice a day. And there was absolutely no vitamin A in their diet. And their eyes were fantastic when they left 3 years later. In all the literature and stuff, they'll say, oh, you'll have lesions on your eyes. Oh, your night vision will be horrible. All this kind of malarkey. And it's not true. And Grant Generu goes through all that in great detail. Amara, I've got so much I want to do. I just have to find the time to build my energy back up. Someone pointed out, she continues, that the other day that we should just go with the flow, the way things are going in the world, rather than resist it while staying in our power, in our own integrity, without it affecting us negatively, and this resonated with me. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I've done something similar to that with with my opposition to the Federal Reserve and the way the banks do money. And I resolved just to have it within myself that whenever I click a pen, that I am defeating the Federal Reserve. It's kind of an inside joke or a inside way that I can feel I am accomplishing um, what I set out to do by doing something else. And it makes me feel good about it. You know, it makes me feel good that I am uh, holding and affirming my internal what did you say, integrity and power and our own integrity uh, by just being mindful of that concern, of that position I take, and yeah, carrying on. Oh, there's more below. Let's see. Schools teaching me how to obey, being a slave. I broke out of it. I'm awake. Oh, that's right. Good, Ben. Oh, Alan's here. Hi, Alan Yates. Connecting barefoot on Mother Earth helps revive lost energy. You lose energy by your hair blowing in the wind. Coconut water gives you energy and many other good things. I used instead of milk on my cereals. There you go. I think the one thing I'm concerned about with the coconut oil, anyway, is the way it helps to spread vitamin E through the body, through the tissues more. So I'm going to be reducing my consumption of coconut oil. But I like coconut water. I think the electrolytes are probably real good in there. It's a good idea. Let's see what else is coming up in here. Hide on the screen. Amara says, thank you, Alan. I appreciate the reminder about grounding. I've not done enough of this recently. I'm dairy free, so coconut milk and cream or oat or almond. Maybe I should swap completely to coconut, though. She says, that's good, Ben. I unschooled my da 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 da. Coconut water is seriously good. I know a guy, Coco, what's his name? Oh my goodness. He's got a name, a nickname. Is it Coco Jimmy or something? And he's got a great product. He takes coconuts and in a manufacturing process kind of cuts off the corners to make them a little bit more square. Coco Vinny, and drills out the top so he can screw in a cap on the coconut. So you actually get a real coconut shell with the real coconut water in it, and you can unscrew it and drink it. And he sells these to like hotels and stuff. And oh man, I was so eager to kind of work with him. That would have been fun. Ben asks, have you seen the Russell J. Gould Postmaster General? I think I know who you mean. They talk about the syntax of the language and describe that all the laws and stuff that are written in the United States are basically gibberish because they don't adhere to grammatic structure. Amara says, I like the name Alan. It was my dad's name. Do I see a description there in your profile explaining what the name means? Ben writes, 1999, he took the flag. They let him mill himself without a passport. I know there was a fellow who started that. I don't know if that last man you met, Russell Gould, is the one, but he was from the one who started it was from Milwaukee, and he was a high level Mason, I think, too, and or at least he knew a lot of the secrets of all that stuff. So he had a way to get the attention of the judges in the courtrooms. Oh, that's nice. Um, Alan writes to Amara, sweetheart, you're more than welcome. All of those other drinks contain water and the toxic chemicals associated with the mainstream water. I drink holy water and coconut water only. I haven't drunk tap water since the last century, and now I have access to a local underground spring that surfaces at the end of the church wall. Locals call it holy water. Oh, that's cool. Alan, were you watching earlier when I did the water treatment? I really want you to have um, that video and you try it on your holy water and see if you like it better. My hands still feel really nice and moist from the treatment that I did. Um, it's one of the 3-pin videos that I have on Joe Baker's Remedy Reports Facebook page. And so there again. Oh, I do have this chat feature. If people are trying to get a hold of me for treatments, and it's up there on my website at health. Let's see, I've got many websites, so it's got to be this one. Well, golly, it's not listed here. So, okay. Well, anyway, somebody mentioned the other day when I did some treatments that they had already left a message for me to call them. And I hadn't seen it. So I was like, what? So this is the one. And it's got a little chat bot thing, health.forgivenesscapital.com. And now I'm set up to get some notifications. And I even turned my phone on. So that's good, and that'll ring my phone. I think even if I have sound turned off, and well, I don't know, I turn the sound off, it'll probably vibrate. There are times when I'm sleeping, and I'm pretty much shut my phone off during that time. I mean, why not? Has anyone had lavender tea? I'm kind of addicted to it at bedtime. Too scared to look at the vitamin A content. Whew. I remember someone used to say it wasn't that lavender wasn't good for men, that it interfered with their testosterone. Um, so I don't know if that's true or not, but now that I'm understanding, how toxins can, um, uh, what's the word, aggravate or be antagonistic, how toxins can be antagonistic to some of the things that are important and essential in our bodies, like testosterone. Rawr. My dad was a weightlifter. Well, not a weightlifter. He was a bodybuilder. So he would sculpt his body for presentation and stuff. Whew. Oh, that's so nice. Reminds me how sweet and cherry my dad was and what a good sense of humor he had. Well, he incarnated into a disabled body and dies young, so that's pretty much a big challenge. Yeah. Elderberry gum helps with that. It's whatever. Maybe I missed something along the way here. Aha. Mara says that's good for me then because my testosterone has been too high and estrogen low. So I need to reduce it. Just a shame the high sex drive may come down a bit when I manage to level out. Um, well, here was a thought. Maca root. Um, I doubt maca has vitamin A in it because I think it's a white. It's kind of like a turnip, and I think it's grown in the Andes around maybe Brazil or Peru at about 10,000 foot altitude. And this is a big question. Maybe you could try it out for me because there's somebody who needs to know. Um, and I've heard that these things can act as like adaptogens. So if if your sex drive is too low, it brings it higher. If it's too high, it might bring it down, or to basically normalize uh, these things. Oh, okay. So you take maca every day. Well, maybe that's why your drive's up high. Um, because it's like they call it horny goat weed. There you go. Mojo. That used to be my nickname. Remember the Powder Puff Girls? There was that TV show, and then they had this arch nemesis. He was a monkey named Mojo Jojo, and I used to use a picture of Mojo Jojo. He had a striped turban on his head. I think it was white and light blue or something, and maybe a ruby or something up in front. And that's kind of funny because eventually I did wear a turban, and I did put a gemstone up there, though it wasn't a ruby. Let's see if I have it here. Kind. You guys like these? These are kind of cool. Oh, Mara, you probably enjoy this. This is at is it called azurite? It's usually found near copper. It's a very very vibrant blue, and it's supposed to be. Here, I'll put it up close to your third eye. Hmm. I don't think I have. I don't have a tuning fork with me right at the moment, but I'll try this with the gyroscope. And I hope this doesn't make you all dizzy, fall off your bicycle or anything. I'm going to pull this and then I'll put this all so it vibrates. The vortex motions will vibrate the stone in your third eye. Let's see what it does. Here we go. Reorienting the azurite to vertical. There you go. It's still going, still spinning. Hello. See if we can connect to our perfect self. I get the feeling that our perfect self has us on a mission to explore our capabilities in these times of difficulties. Ben says, yes, I feel it. Amara writes, that's a stone of the gods, is it not? Azurite. I would think so. As you're right. Again, can definitely feel it in the third eye. My third eye was going crazy after the shroom tea yesterday. I had to massage it to release the pressure. Same sensation again now. Alan says, have you still got your Bitcoins? If so, get rid and switch to XRP or XLM as quickly as possible. Well, I rather I do concur with you, Alan. That's probably a good move. The XRP should be coming to a finality in that lawsuit. And she asks about Pepe coin. What about Pepe? It's kind of a meme coin that I'm fond of, and holding a little bit of Pepe coin, and it's one of these counterintuitive projects that you just never know what's going to happen with. Hi, Nina. Oh, Nina's asking, what's a third eye? We have a biology inside of our brains, a place where there's like another eye. It has nerves and stuff like an eye, and it's called the pineal gland. Pineal gland, Pineal. And the pineal gland is responsible, I think, for the visions we see when we dream. It actually projects light. Some people who are sun gazers are really powerful at projecting light from them. They can actually flash light from their forehead. Um, oh, wow. Alan writes, XRP was gifted by our off-world assistants. They've been using it for 200,000 years or so. Oh, Alan. Oh man. It may be true, and if it is, I'm still gonna laugh. Um, oh my word. It's a blockchain, so it's got. I mean, they might have been using the technology of XRP off chain, but we've got our own chain here of it, and might be separate. I do believe blockchains can work, galactic wide. Amara responds about the third eye. She refers to it's your intuition, your sixth sense. Ben says we are all gods. We speak stuff in existence, words or spells. I think so. Yeah. She says, I'd call this my spirit. Um, yes, it's probably the interface between your spirit and your body. Um, I would almost venture to say that. I'm not sure I'm correct, but let's see. Amara says yes, being in contact with your higher self. Nina writes, for me, it's a way to have a relationship with God rather than a higher me. Yeah, you don't really want to be an employee, so you don't want to hire yourself. Oh my God, bad joke. Bad joke. XRP jumped here from the outer ponds. Good ones, Earthica. Let's see. You have a body, a mind, soul, spirit. The soul is a drop in the ocean of consciousness. Woo! Ben says, I want to go and do ayahuasca and talk to myself. Yeah, Ben, we should do that sometime. That would be kind of fun. Oh, if someone says, Alan says, if not, buy silver. Not much left to mine, not much in storage, and nothing available for industry. That's what's most expensive thing on a silicon on chip. I don't know. I would think gold would be um, at this point, but I think silver. Some people say that silver may overtake gold in its price. Um, who says that? I listened to that guy. It's been quite a while. I can picture his face. Anyway, I think that the precious metals, yes, they have the industry thing. Um, let's see, but I much prefer the cryptocurrencies, yeah, over the silver and gold. But they have their place, and I do have some silver dimes somewhere, just in case it all breaks loose. Have you ever had an experience of God, something tangible? Nina asks. I had a friend who saw God, and and who can speak to God anytime. And so, if you have questions, maybe I could have her on the show, and she could do the mediumship type of thing. Um, I'm much more interested in when she talks to an alien named. Wow, why am I drawing a blank on this? There's an alien that crashed near New Mexico, um, and was interrogated and all this stuff. And my friend, she was watching videos about this, and suddenly she was able to telepathically communicate with that alien. And Amara says yes to the question of have you ever communicated with God? And the energy of, she goes on, I requested it to show itself and come to me. The energy that entered the room was incredible and scary at the same time. I shit myself. Whoa. And Star writes, silver is the best for liquidity, but palladium is the best metal investment. I like to meddle in the affairs of mankind. Oh, bad pun. Let's see. She wrote, I also felt the love and peace that you'd receive when you die. Ben says, is it named Thor? Palladium? Oh, the name. No, it wasn't named Thor. In fact, I have its name on one of my websites as a password protected page on remedycoin.com. And so if I go up there, Aril, Aril. Oh, and I pull the page up and I see myself talking on there. I haven't seen that in a long time. Yeah, so the name is Aril. I'll spell it on the screen here. And there's videos about the recorded conversations. Aril gave a history of the galaxy and all this stuff, and talked about the wars between a galactic alliance and empire and all this kind of stuff. And I mean, it's not a very Star Wars-esque. And of course, all this information was before the movie Star Wars came out. So kind of cool. And then I was able to ask some questions, and I showed a picture of me talking to an alien. It's kind of like a dummy, a gray from the Sci-Fi Museum, and was in Burlington, Wisconsin. And and then Aril, when seeing that through my friend's eyes, was very sad, and said that she was embarrassed because she flew so close to the Earth that it's the crash happened. Good question. Amara asks, is evil such a thing? Is there really good and bad? Who makes up these measurements? Everything goes full circle, and in fact, all is good in the end. We all have a role to play in our many different lifetimes. A murderer must exist for someone to be murdered. We all switch roles and experience these things at some point. Um, I, I think you've got a valid question there. And I think that there's maybe a better word to talk about what is optimum. Is that which is optimum the best? And but then you look at doors. Somebody makes a door. In the old days they would carve all these nice artful carvings on it and everything. And these days they just slap a panel of wood on, up there. And is it is it evil or suboptimal to take extra time to artfully design a door? Um, Sometimes we get into an idea of what's efficient and what's not, and so there are lots of perspectives on this. And I can remember a time when I didn't have any use for art. I didn't think it was that useful. And this is kind of like the insects that are trying to control us. According to Cliff High, there are these praying mantis uh, creatures that are creating hybrid human beings, and they control us through our nervous system. Um, the It's like on the back of your tongue. The dandelions stimulate it. It's Anyway. The same nervous system is kind of how our psychic things operate through. I'm not thinking of parasympathetic or whatever. I'm thinking of let's see. I haven't tried this in a while. Talk to my subconscious. What's the name of that nerve? Thank you. The vagus nerve. The vagus nerve. And it runs, I guess, throughout the body. And so it kind of is like an antenna, and it's an ability for us to be controlled. So these, the ones that are, have been, the humans that have been turned into a hybrid are more controllable through the vagus nerve. And so, and an insect that doesn't have a heart chakra, or, I mean, these hybrids are only have a reduced set of chakras, I guess. And I think it's like 3 instead of like 7 or whatever. And the thing is an absence of the heart chakra. So to them, things are more mechanical, are more logical, but they're missing perhaps the appreciation for art, or the ideas of love, or the connection to spirit. And so that there are opposite sides of things, and the opposites can have alternate views on what is good and bad. So that's that's always a good question to get into. But what do I feel? Um, Look, I think that the main issue of our day is probably the um, the way people abuse children, sexually, and I think that is bad. I think it's evil, but I wonder if there's something that's not being said from the other side. Like, what is it that they derive from this kind of thing? Um, the the closest thing I've heard was from Josh Reeves from the Global Reality, and he used to talk about how um, it would create, like, if someone violated a child, that it would create a sort of a spell of protection, not for the child, but for the violator. And and this is very concerning. So this is one of the reasons I like to do biofield treating tuning on people who have had these kinds of experiences. Um, to perhaps undo the spells that were created in causing the trauma. Um, I know of someone whose father had been a psychic assassin, and he had harmed her when she was a child. Um, you know, very very bad abuse that way, and it seems like this is part of some kind of black magic kind of rituals. Can they justify what they're doing? I think not. I think they should be stopped from performing those types of things. Whether they should be put to death, I mean, anybody can do it. I mean, why aren't they? Um, it's not for government to put these people to death or to punish them. Um, it's anybody's opportunity to do, and I don't think I would. I mean, there's been times in the past where I've gotten very aggressive about these things, and like Jeffrey Dahmer, I was rather triggered by that whole thing, and I wanted to be the one to pull the switch for him to die. And well, I think not. I'm more about trying to remove the installed behaviors that are on those people, perhaps the demonic possession that is on them. Uh, I see biofield tuning as a great way of polishing one's soul from the traumas of the past so that these demons, if you will, or um, attachments um, as beliefs, behaviors, triggers, they just can't hang on to you anymore, and because you're so smooth, it's kind of like water off a duck's back. I have a conviction that I feel that each of us has infinite worth, and even Henry Kissinger, um, who's, if my presumptions are correct, has caused untold, unimaginable human suffering on the human population, and has crippled us from our spiritual um, abilities. By taking retinol, it causes the and I blame him for the retinol, um, particularly when it started getting added under Richard Nixon's administration as a supplement in the milk and the flour in the United States. And then the Grant Jenner outlines in his book Breast Cancer how retinol has a direct causal effect of creating autoimmune conditions, basically inflammation, and causing mutations in the stem cells. And so we're looking at mutations causing breast cancer in in the woman. And the symptoms are very similar to the psoriasis on the skin, only these lesions are happening internally in the breast cancer, like in the glands. So I um, I think Henry Kissinger has an opportunity to play a good role in humanity. And well, like you say, Amara, there's is there the question of the good and evil. There's the is there one or the other? We all have our good and our dark sides, the yin and yang, if you will. And um, I have a friend from Japan in our Milwaukee Linux user group. He once when I was talking about George Bush and he talked about the axis of evil, and and he said there is no. My friend said there is no evil. So he came from Japan, where that was more of an idea. So probably on the same converse thing, he'd say there is no good. Let's see. Maybe I've gone into that enough. I know that the big question comes: would I call for the death penalty for Henry Kissinger? Um, I think I would call for it. Call for it to be in a judgment, but I would like to see. I would like to see the forgiveness from something like that converted alchemically, or that I'd like to see that kind of judgment converted alchemically into a forgiveness asset, and have Henry Kissinger play a role in promoting the forgiveness asset's value throughout the world, so that we would have each of us a huge inheritance, and that would that would play the role of neutralizing the harmful effects of the Federal Reserve and freeing people of fictitious debt. So there we go. Everything goes full circle. Nina writes, I'm in the UK. People here, the majority general, don't have a religion. I think people have used religion in such a way that people have pulled away and are searching. I grew up in a family who didn't have beliefs, but I actually have been given my life to God after many experiences of his tangible presence. Nina, this is interesting. I went through a phase where I was a born again Christian, and it was in high school, middle school, and high school. And I was, a, a an evangelical evangelist, and I'd go around talking to everybody about Jesus in school, and I obsessed on it. Some people, that's where my obsessive compulsive stuff seems to have been first figured out, maybe. And probably much like the way I talk about vitamin A today. Um, uh, so there's the potential for an irrational uh, part of my mental capacities. So the irrational part would be that I'm not putting things in proper ratios, and some things are being overemphasized. It's possible. You bring this up, and I've been thinking about Randy Nylon. Randy was a classmate in middle school or high school. I think high school. And one day on the bus, he asked me about God, and I took him through this Bible pamphlet. We called it tracts, and it was called "The Real Purpose of Life." I can remember it, and it talked about the chasm, his separation between man and God, and how Jesus had atoned for our sins and all this, and was bringing us back into communion with God, or into right standing with Him. And it wasn't about a week later, Randy Nylon died of pneumonia. I didn't really know him that well, but he knew about me, and so we had that conversation on the bus, and that's just one of those things in my life that really kind of freaked me out, you know. Um, th- there are some chats I need to get to, and I see the number 50 up there. I wonder why that says 50. Certainly, I don't have 50 comments down here. So I feel that religion is a very controlling thing on people. So I have been um, reluctant. I've actually kind of jettisoned myself from it, and I'm not wanting to be controlled um, by governments, by um, entities that are out there, archons. I'm uh, I'm very keen on retaining my autonomy, and being able to explore concepts, and not to just think they're that this is the only good way to do things, etc. I'm looking at uh, as many angles as I can to try to make sense of it all. And then there's usually preconceived controversies where someone's in control of it all, maybe a wizard or something, and they engineer a controversy. Like the um, the Jews and the Muslims. Maybe that's engineered controversy between two things, or Christians and Muslims, or um, and these things seem to be engineered on a scale of millennia, like 2,000 years ahead of time. Um, with an eye toward conflicts. Um, I think the thing about looking into somebody's eyes, is important, and to be able to see people eye to eye, and get us away from just the 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 normal classifications that are out there, and even our language is seems to have been subverted, so that when we talk, we're conveying subliminal messages that kind of defeat us. So there's those concerns. So anyway, about religion and all that, I would say, um, it's nice to be at peace. It's nice to feel love. Um, I think there is something important about anger and rage. I think it's essential for us to be able to express our rage. I don't think we should be suppressing uh, things. So I'm not in favor of. I mean, forgiveness can be done in rage. I'm teaching people how to forgive in rage. I've never quite said it that way, but that's what remedycoin.com kind of does. Let's see what else is down here. I'm not getting very good scrolling action. Let me find the mouse down here. These touchpads are just not so good. Hey, I'm gonna bring the stone out. Maybe I can. I don't know what can I do. Put on my glasses or something here. Oh, I think I'm gonna be way out of all this. Wow, there's a lot of questions. Let's see. I like the fact you're obsessive, Joe. This is a quality I possess too, so I empathize. Um, there really are like 50 comments that were up there. Love's the highest vibration. I think, Ben, there's one even higher than love, and I think it's bliss is the tonal scale. We had Adam Abraham on, and he talked about I don't know, a book, and I think bliss or something about God is like the highest vibration or something. It's but yeah, love is very high, and it's good. I try to go to bliss when I want to really go high, and that I don't know if you can feel it. If I can project it to you, it's kind of an airy feeling. It's kind of light. Um, it's an air of confidence, and I don't want to say dominion, but it's like, an assurance that everything's going to be all right, or no worries. Don't worry about a thing. Everything, little thing's going to be all right. Let's see. It's it's relaxing. It's I'd say that bliss is almost non-physical. It's an absence, I think, of tension. Yeah. Here, Nina writes, "Thank you for joining us today, Nina." She writes, "Lots. As a child, I started going to church age 7. My family didn't go. I used to feel peaceful afterwards. I prayed and had a prayer answered. I drifted from God as a teenager until about 18 years ago. I have seen healings. I have felt God's presence. He has communicated to me in different ways." Thank you. That's beautiful. Um, I just want to say this about to all of us, and we we communicate, we commune with others, uh, in other realms. And I know there's this uh, potential for imposters of our loved ones. Um, and I don't know what to say. I don't know how one would tell one from the other. Uh, Although some of the things are like, um, a woman whose husband had passed, and her husband came back to her, and they were having some kind of mental sex until it was over, and then the form changed from her husband to some alien. So it's the idea that of the potential for an alien mindset to reach into your brain to know how to present itself to you as someone you love and trust. So this is like, how do we even know that, you know 5 or 10 years from now, you might tune in to watch Joe Baker's Remedy Report, and it might not be me. You might see me, you might hear me, you might even feel me somehow, but is it really me? The technology is really moving ahead. So in this way, God could even be impersonated by other entities, or in the other abstract, it could be um, it could be that we see or experience God the way our imagination projects Him to be. It could be that we are the creators of God, and like, I remember, I kind of think of my own, that the Jesus I've been taught to believe in and all of this could be my own creation. Like, you have, maybe think about a Raggedy Ann doll, or doll that you had as a child or something, and you imbue it with a personality. You think about how it's going to interact with you, how you act to it. You have certain expectations you put on it, and you imbue the doll with a personality that you perceive. Sometimes I think, the Bible, and the Christian Bible, and the way the churches are, teach us about Jesus and God and all this, are training us to project onto the doll, if you will, the doll, the godhood, the God character, and in that way we create a God that we pray to, who has the power to effect miracles, to effect healings. But maybe it's really our our minds that are creating the God that heals the person. So we're instantiating this God personality to do it. And forgive me, I know I'm walking all over a lot of people's theology, and I'm out here. I'm one who believes very strongly in brainstorming, and we'll talk about things that are preposterous to some. So there we go. Anyway, um, I hope that um, kind of addresses that idea. Um, Thank you, Nina, for sharing. No, it's not that I did. I no. Let's see. Nina writes, "It's not. I don't dislike. I haven't read them, so I can't comment one way or the other." Ben writes, "I would whether be a wolf of Odin than a lamb of God. I would rather be a wolf of Odin than a lamb of God." Interesting, Ben. I'm not very steeped in the ways of Odin and all. I've watched some of the TV series about the Vikings, so I'm getting more of a feel for that. And I know that this Odin character is also thought to be like there's people who say that the same entity it reincarnates himself, and so that like Jesus might be Odin, might be um, Thoth, um, and Hermes, and maybe Hermes Trismegistics, whatever. Yeah, I think there is something in vengeance. I like to take the vengeance and move it through forgiveness, and uh, and then use that as a seed of consensus for the society to work together. Um, essentially that would be Thor's hammer. Thor's hammer would be the judgment of forgiveness that would smash um, the opponents, that would smash the evil in the opponent, but maintain the integrity and the infinite value of the opponent. So, yeah. Da, 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 da. Nina wrote, "Did you know that they have scientifically proven that the purrs of a cat heal broken bones faster?" No, I did not. That sounds great. The field effects are great. I mean, it's all about the enzymes. You see, our our enzymes in our bodies can be paralyzed. You get so much retinoic acid in your tissue, and there are normal functions that simply do not work anymore. The enzymes can just go enter into a state of paralysis. So, um, cat purring would be a perfect thing. Um, there are plasma waves associated with the sound, and there are intentions, and there are um, intentions, maybe emotional states of relaxation, and these are carried like carrier waves on the plasmatic energy. So, you know, essentially a cat could purr and it wouldn't even have to be on you if somehow you could connect to the cat remotely. Cat purring is love vibration. Uh-oh. Amora writes, is Thor's hammer powerful enough to handle the rage when a lover forgets your birthday? It better be a big hammer. Yeah, it's like you need a hammer that's really big. It comes down on you, but it has a hole in it right where you stand. So like the hammer's of course like as big as a house, and there's this hole in the hammer, so it comes banging down and smashes. Doesn't really harm the individual other than they feel the rattle. Well, maybe the concussion waves. Oh my goodness. Stroking a cat has also been proven to reduce blood pressure. Ah, thank you, Nina. I was Yeah, I was stroking Hoodie as he was dying and died, and he actually croaked at the end, turned his head up and just laid down. And I was like, I'm trying to feel. Is he breathing anymore? Is there any more anything else to his biology right now? He was just so soft, and and his shape was so defined. Good. Well, there's a bunch of stuff to talk about, and let me bring this sign up from today's show. I don't know if I can. Did I close it? There it is. Philosophy and optimism. Your perfection. A perfect blueprint for you exists. Sunday, June 11th, 2023. How about that? So, um, Eileen McCusick, the inventor of the biofield tuning with tuning forks, talked about how she felt that every person on earth could ring pure, or ring true. And this is the idea that when the tuning fork is on the side of you and it finds one of your traumas, there's a distortion that happens in the tuning fork. And through all of this trauma we've been through, there's a way to clear it. And it can take time. I mean, it can probably take hundreds of hours to work on a person's biofield. I mean, there's so much there. And maybe there's faster ways of doing it. There is a fellow who does it with mirrors, gold plated, silver plated, aluminum plated. How do you guys say it over in the UK? Aluminium, aluminium plated mirrors. They all have different frequency ranges that they reflect. And there's something about how the body emits photons, light, and those photons bounce off the mirror. And when they come back to the body recognizes that the light emitted from itself. This is the principle of how biofield tuning works. Essentially, you are recognizing your own light. And I think it kind of fills in the gaps because at times in your timeline of your life when there's trauma, that there's a sense of disassociation that occurs in your personality where you start becoming another person. Um, the psychological walling off. Essentially, you create another personality that deals with the trauma, or that is more equipped. And this is to kind of protect your initial personality. And I think what happens is this is that the light comes back and you begin to realize yourself through the trauma, and it fills in the gaps, and you become more whole, you become more coherent, you become more consistent through the memory of the trauma. These things are somehow hard to talk about, and I'm speaking perhaps in metaphors, and I'm trying to make this stuff up as I go to give you, using words that you'll understand, some way to kind of convey these concepts. It's not something that there is some science to it. Eileen has worked with scientists. They've identified this light that emits, and the biophotons actually orbit the body. It's like light that is in orbit around you. And very, very. Oh, bye, Nina. Everybody's saying goodbye. And it's been a pleasure speaking to you all. Thank you, Nina. Nice talking with you too. Thank you, Amara, about hoodie. Ben says, I've seen everything in vibrations, food and drinks. Wow. Amara says, I would say I'm a pagan more than anything else, either that or a psychic white witch. Ben says, every city had a bell. And that's how they've healed people with bell vibrations, a healing center. The vibrations do stimulate stem cells, sound vibrations. So I think that's part of what I do with tuning forks. And I'm not sure it's necessarily the audio. I think it's the plasmatic waves that accompany the sound waves. And whether the sound waves get there or not, we can direct the plasma waves to interact with anything the mind can steer it toward. Oh, well, I want to do a little promo for this. This does a kind of waves too, terahertz waves. It's kind of a magnetic thing in a new emerging thing. They use terahertz waves to scan inside your body at the airports. I mean, I wasn't letting them do that, but this has been looked over. Amanda Vollmer endorsed these things. She liked them, and I think I looked over about 2 or 4 hours of video. Amanda talked about these, and it looks pretty cool. Anyway, I'm working with Linda Bond Swift. Her number is 262-914-6604, or she's got healthywithyou.co is her website, as you can see there. And if you'd like to get one of these, let her know you're buying it and that you want me to get some credit for that. And that'd be great. If I sell 4 of them that way, then I'll be in as a reseller of them. I think these should sell like hotcakes, man. Somebody got off of dialysis using one of these, and I don't know. It's about a $400 item. This one, and they've got ones that go much higher in price. But it may work for a certain time, and then you need to replace it or whatever. But it operates like a hairdryer. It's got a crystal in it, and it blows the hot air near it, and this sends ions into your body, kind of like being at the ocean, and feeling the energy of the waves. We used it earlier on the show today when we were treating the water, and I played that video, and everything felt really, really cool to me. I'm curious. I'm still not getting any feedback from people about that water treatment. And I've sent a message to my friend Daniel Lopez in California, asking him to use his laboratory equipment um, to test water before and after treating it with my recording of using this. Sorry, it probably sounds so complicated. That's why it's sometimes it's easier to just have a tool right on you. This plugs into the wall outlet, and I know they sell these in Europe too. It's got a different kind of power for those. But this could be a useful tool for a lot of people to help, with the health of their loved ones and themselves. Groovy cool. Well, this has been a great show today. I think I'm going to wrap it up here. One more thing I'd like to ask people to consider donating. And here's the page where you can donate and all. There's a QR code up on the screen. That'll take you to forgivenesscapital.com, where there's information that's on the screen now. How you can mail a check or send Bitcoin, PayPal, Zelle. If you've got some other idea of how you'd like to help with the show, just let me know. Where am I? How come I'm not on the screen here? Oh, I know. I have to turn this off. No, don't delete it. Just turn it off. It's kind of an overlay. So that's that. And again, this was azurite stone. It's not an azurong stone. It's an azurite stone. I think Azurite. And this one's cut and polished really nice. Usually it's kind of jagged, and you rub on it, and if it's jagged and not polished, you can smell it really nice. I used to smell my other one, and of course this is an odd thing. It's coupled with copper a lot, and it's found with copper a lot, and copper toxicity is a big problem too. It kind of goes hand in hand with vitamin A toxicity. So we got to watch our copper levels, and that can cause all kinds of problems too. But I don't know. I think azurite's kind of cool. I'm always still trying to work to get my third eye going a little more and more, and although I've been dreaming, so maybe it is working. And I think I'll reiterate this point. I think the retinol of vitamin A, it's causing calcium dysregulation. So this is probably, along with fluoride, another contributor to people's third eye not fully functioning. So we should avoid retinol just as much as we avoid fluoride, I feel. Anyway, thanks for watching. It's been great. I'll see you guys again soon. And let's have a cheer. All right. Thanks. And goodbye, everybody.